Vilasni Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for all your services. Thank you for encouraging each one of us in this platform. And welcome to today's session, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Chinmay Vrajapriya Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from College Station, Texas, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Mataji, please accept
Put
my
me
humble
into the break room.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for all your services in Bhakti Sangha. And welcome, Mataji, to today's call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, then was Pranam. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Neetu Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji, for joining each and every day. And welcome to today's session. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, sorry. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Duma from Portland, Oregon. Thank you, Preeti Mataji. Very beautiful recitation of Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Uma Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji, for joining every day, and thank you for all your services. And welcome, Mataji, to today's call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Chinmay Mataji. Hare Krishna, Chinmay Mataji. Dandat pranams to you and all the devotees here. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Preeti Mataji, for a very mellifluous rendering of the Bhagavad Gita. This is Sumi from Chennai, India.
Hare Krishna, Sumi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for always joining Bhakti Sangha, no matter where you are. And welcome to today's session. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Balavinda, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol, Balavrinda. Welcome. Thank you, Kanna. Thank you for all the services you do, always being there, chanting every day for Guru Maharaj. Welcome, Kanna. Welcome to today's session.
Hare Krishna Mataji, just quick announcement that we do in the morning class also. Govinda Gita Mataji, who joins Bhakti Sangha every single day without fail. The mother of Rajeshwari Priya Mataji is in the hospital. We are requesting prayers from all the Vaishnavas. She just joined the call now. So we are very fortunate to have Govinda Gita Mataji's association on Bhakti Sangha. She has never failed to join a single call on Bhakti Sangha. She joins in the name of Rajeshwari Priya Mtyasi, like you see on the Zoom call right now. And Mataji is joining from ICU in the hospital. So we all please pray for her, continue our prayers so that Mataji gets discharged quickly and she can join Bhakti Sangha from home happily. So we are all praying for her. And everybody, if you can just unmute quickly and say one time Hare Krishna, that will really enthuse Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Rajeshwari Priya, for bringing Mataji on the call. Govinda Gita Mataji, we love you. We are praying for you. Soon you will be outside and you'll be at home and you will again be very, very active on Bhakti Sangha. Everything will be fine, Mataji. Krishna is always with you. Hari Bol.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Say thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Bol.
Hari Bol. Thank you, dear Mataji.
Thank you, Preeti.
Thank you. And your association means a lot to each one of us. We miss you a lot when you are not joining, but all the time we see your name and you have never missed a single call except for this rough phase that you're going through, Mataji. But after this, we are going to have you full with us only. Thank you, Mataji. Please pray for her, her condition. She's actually having a tough time. She's been in the ICU for almost 2 weeks. So she's going through a very, very difficult time. And Rajeshwari Priya, our very loved Mataji, who helped Bhakti Sangha grow great heights with her efforts. She is with her mother right now in the ICU, and we can pray for both of them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hari Bol. And besides that, of course, His Holiness Romapada Swami Maharaj is in Atlanta, and his stroke condition has affected his language skills, meaning it has impaired his language. So he's also recovering. Good news is he's recovering. He is able to eat prasadam that we are providing nicely, and he's also improving greatly. So we can continue our prayers for both Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, who's also recovering, as well as His Holiness Romapada Swami Maharaj. So all of us can continue our prayers for all these great Vaishnavas. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for giving these updates, and thank you, Gita Govinda Mataji, for joining every day and blessing us. And all our prayers are with you, Mataji. And we do not see Archana Bhakti Mataji yet.
We can start with Prabhupada's quote.
Sure. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So welcome once again to our Bhakti Sangha mid-morning session. We are continuing with our Chaitanya Mangal series, and we'll read Srila Prabhupada's quote for today. Anything fresh that is full of vitamin, grow fresh, take fresh. This was instructed by His Divine Grace at Paris on August 3rd, 1976. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We'll continue to chant till Mataji joins. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna Archana Bhakti Mata Ji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Guru Maharaj. Thank you Mata Ji, thank you for joining Bhakti Sangha and giving your very precious time to us, and we are all waiting for you Mata Ji. We are waiting for your beautiful classes that you give, and Mata Ji will be talking on Chaitanya Mangal Sutra Khanda, second chapter, from verses 376 to 387. Please take over, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. And I apologize for the delay. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Sri Chaitanya Mangal ki jai, Srila Lochan Das Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Om Ajnanati Mirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshakarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for joining today's session on Bhakti Sangha Japa group. We are reading from Srila Lochan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Mangal Sutra Khanda. And before we begin today's verses, I'll try to give you a general overview of what's going on here. So Narad Muni, being a great devotee, is feeling compassion for the people of Kali Yuga. So the time is the end of Dwapar Yuga. This is towards the end of Dwapar Yuga. Already the symptoms are being visible. People are not having taste for the names of the Lord, holy names of the Lord. So Narad Muni, wanting to bring dharma in society, went to Dwaraka. And there in Dwaraka, he got darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna revealed his Lord Chaitanya's darshan. And then he told Narad Muni to go and announce everywhere, because Narad Muni can travel to different parts of the universe and even beyond without any restriction. So the Lord said, you go and announce everywhere about the arrival of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That means about my arrival. So we saw Narad Muni went to Naimisharanya. He met Uddhava, inspired Uddhava by relating to Uddhava about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's advent. Then Narad Muni went to Kailash, and there he met Lord Shiva and Parvati Devi, and reminded Parvati Devi. So he's basically telling about the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he reminded her how Goddess Katyayani had taken a vow to distribute Mahaprasad to everyone, including animals, in Kali Yuga. Then at that time, how the Supreme Lord, Lord Vishnu, appeared and told her a secret, that the Kalpavriksha tree that came out during churning the milk ocean. Kalpavriksha tree means a wish-fulfilling desire tree. That is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Kalpavriksha tree. And the Lord is going to appear in Kali Yuga. And he is going to distribute love of Godhead. And that her desire would also be fulfilled, that she will be distributing prasadam of Lord Jagannath. Then from there, after informing them about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Narad Muni went to Lord Brahma's abode. And he was in such ecstasy, chanting the names of Lord Gaura. And when he arrived there, he told Brahmaji about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, how he is going to appear. Hearing this, Brahmaji became very inspired. He embraced Narad Muni. And then he said that he started narrating to him. First of all, he said, what is the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam? So he said, once the Kumaras had a question, they asked Brahmaji about the activities of the Supreme Lord. Why the Lord acts, performs such activities which are contradictory. For example, he has no birth, but still you see that, he performs a pastime where the hunter shoots an arrow at him and then, apparently he leaves his body. Also, he is dharma, supreme dharma personified. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Dharma is that which is given by the Lord. Still, he acts as if he's lusty, going after others' wives, etc. Why the Lord performs these activities? When this question was asked by Brahmaji, by Kumaras to Brahmaji, Brahmaji became, thoughtful. He was thinking, how am I going to answer these questions? And at that time, the Lord's Hams avatar appeared and gave the Chatushloki Bhagavatam to Brahmaji. And Brahmaji is telling Narad Muni that from that Bhagavatam, Chatushloki Bhagavatam, he was able to answer the questions of the Kumaras and they were satisfied. And he said another glory, how Vyasdev, even after compiling Mahabharata and the Vedas, Mahabharata, Puranas, still he was not satisfied. Seeing this, the Lord sent Brahmaji with the Chatushloki and said, you speak this to Narad Muni, and then Narad Muni will inspire Vyasdev that he should compile Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this way, Brahmaji glorified Srimad Bhagavatam, that Srimad Bhagavatam is Chakravarti. It is the emperor Pramana. And whatever is said in Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental. After saying this, then, so what is the topic here? The topic is the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Kali Yuga. We should always remember that, because it looks like, we are going stories and, this discussion. But what is the thread? What is the connecting point here? The appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you remember how even this whole discussion started, Damodar Pandit asked Murari Gupta about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. Why? What is the reason that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took sannyas and, why he weeps like that, why he's preaching, going door to door. So he had these questions about Mahaprabhu. So then Murari Gupta started describing in this way, this whole pastime about Narad Muni, and then this whole thing is coming. So now this is the conversation. What we are reading now, these verses are the conversation between Brahmaji and Narad Muni. So Brahmaji is saying to Narad Muni, so after establishing the supreme position of Srimad Bhagavatam, then from that very Bhagavatam, Brahmaji quotes shlokas. And how it is said in Bhagavatam, it is established in Bhagavatam that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that original personality of Godhead who appears in Kali Yuga. That's the point. So, first Brahmaji quoted that in the 10th canto, 8th chapter, Gargamuni says to Nanda Maharaj, yes, that this, your son, previously he assumed 3 different colors. White, red, and yellow. Now he has appeared in blackish color. Asan varnas trayo hyasya grihnatonu yugam tanuhu shuklo raktas tatha pita idanim krishnatam gataha. So this verse was first quoted, showing that in Satya Yuga, the Lord appeared in a white complexion, in Treta Yuga, in red complexion, and now he has appeared in a black complexion. But there were 4 colors mentioned, Shuklo Raktas Tatha Pita. What about that? Nothing is said about Pita, the yellow color. So then that has to be discussed, or that was already discussed in the previous verses. So in order to explain that, 4 yugas should have 4 incarnations. 4 colors are said, but description is not given. So to give the description, now another verse is quoted from 11th canto. Brahmaji is only quoting to Narad Muni. So he's saying, 11th canto, 5th chapter, conversation between King Nimi and Navayogendras. So here specifically, Karabhajan Muni, one of the Navayogendras, is being asked by King Nimi. What was the question? He is asking, what colors does the Supreme Personality of Godhead assume in the different yugas? What are his names in different yugas? By what process and by what kind of people is he worshipped? So what is the process by which he is worshipped? What are the names? What are the colors? And what is the process by which he is worshipped? Please tell me all this like that. Then from 20th verse of that chapter, 11:5:20 to 22, Karabhajan Muni is explaining about these Yugavataras. So in Satya, Treta, Dwapar and Kali Yugas, Krishna appears in different colors and he is worshipped in different ways. In Satya Yuga, he appeared in a white color, white complexion, and he has 4 arms and matted hair, and his name is Hamsa. He was a brahmachari. Then in Treta Yuga, so this further in the same chapter, text 24 to 25, the Lord's form in Treta Yuga is described. His name is Yagya. And he has a reddish hue, 4 arms, 3 distinctive lines on his abdomen, and his hair is golden. His form manifests the Vedic knowledge, and his symbols are the sacrificial spoon, ladle, etc. So this is the Yuga avatar for Treta Yuga called Yagya. Then about Dwapar Yuga, it is said from verse 27, 28 and 31 is describing the Yuga avatar of Dwapar Yuga, that the personality of Godhead appears in a blackish hue, yellow dress. He has his weapons, Kaustuba jewel, Srivatsa on his chest. These are all the symptoms. And what is the method of worship? Deity worship. Following the tantras like Pancharatra, Narada Pancharatra, like that. So following the various tantras, the people of Dwapar Yuga glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So after this, it is said in every yuga, the Supreme Lord appears as a Yuga avatar. And that Yuga avatar induces the people of that Yuga to follow the appropriate Yuga Dharma for that Yuga. So every Yuga has a Yuga Dharma. That is why for each Yuga avatar, there is a particular procedure to be followed by which that Yuga avatar is worshipped. So this Yuga avatar induces the people to follow the appropriate Yuga Dharma. Then text 32 is talking about Kali Yuga, the Yuga avatar of Kali Yuga. However, the name is not given. Satya Yuga name is given as Hamsa. Treta Yuga name is given as Yagya. Dwapar Yuga name is given as Krishna, the Yuga avatar's name. But Kali Yuga's name is not given, description is given. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayer Yajantihi Sumedasaha. So in Kali Yuga, Sumedasaha, exceptionally intelligent people will worship this form of the Lord by performing Sankirtan, congregational chanting. This is the means of worshipping this avatar. And what is the description of this avatar? He is constantly singing the name of Krishna. He is performing Sankirtan. That he is doing the Sankirtan Yagya. And Krishna Varnam, he belongs to the category of Krishna. That means he is Krishna. Tvisha Akrishnam. His bodily complexion is not. So Krishna means black. So Akrishna means it's not black. It's the opposite. It's golden. And also he is accompanied by Sanga Upangastra Parshadam. His Anga, Upanga, Astra and Parshada. That means here Anga is explained as Lord Balaram. Upanga means his ornaments, etc. Astra means his weapons like Sudarshan Chakra. Parshada means like Prahlad Maharaj, Narad Muni, his associates, his eternal, his eternal associates in the spiritual world. So he's accompanied by all these associates. This is the description of the Yuga avatar of Kali Yuga. Okay. However, the common people will not understand these descriptions of Srimad Bhagavatam, is said. The lowly people will not believe them. That means this description that is given about the avatar of Kali Yuga, remember the context here is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance in Kali Yuga. And who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? That's why Narad Muni went to Dwaraka and he saw Krishna, and Krishna revealed his form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was actually showing it to Rukmini ji, and Narad Muni saw that. He got darshan. So, Krishna appears as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam is the Chakravarti Praman. That means anything which is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, that is ultimate. Still, the less intelligent people, lowly people, common people, they will not understand these descriptions. That's why Karbhajan Muni is saying, Sumedhasaha. Only intelligent people will understand this avatar of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For the others, he will remain hidden. They won't understand. Then, what is the Yuga Dharma for Kali Yuga? That verse itself is saying Sankirtan, isn't it? Because Sumedhasaha are worshipping this avatar who is constantly engaged in Sankirtan Yagya. What does Yuga Avatar do? Yuga Avatar comes to induce people to do the Yuga Dharma. So he is doing it That means that is the Yuga Dharma. What is the Yuga Dharma in Kali Yuga? Sankirtan, congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Who will take to this path? Only Sumedha Saha. Intelligent people will take to this. They will delight in Sankirtan. After saying this, Srila Lochandas Thakur is saying that he's going to explain that which ordinary people don't understand. That means only intelligent people can understand. What is that? Why in Srimad Bhagavatam only 3 colors are mentioned? Or at least it appears that only 3 colors are mentioned. Shukla Raktas Tatha Pita. Idanim Krishnatam Gataha. So, Shukla Raktas Tatha Pita. Idanim Krishnatam Gataha. So, what is the understanding you get? That previously the Lord appeared in red, white, red and yellow colors. Shukla Raktas Tatha Pita. Idanim Krishnatam Gataha. Now he has appeared in black color. Then we see 4 colors. Why it is said only 3 colors are said? In the 2 yugas, Dwapar and Kali, the Lord's incarnation has the same color. So this is the understanding that people will get. See, what is said here is that ordinary people don't understand. So I'm telling you what ordinary people don't understand, he says. So they think that in the 2 yugas of Dwapara and Kali, the Lord's incarnation has the same color. The Lord's incarnations have the same color in these 2 yugas. So in Satya and Treta yugas, the Lord's incarnation have red and white color. In Dwapara and Kali Yuga, they have the same color. That's the meaning that's coming from this verse. That means only 3 colors are given. Why is the sequence of colors broken in Garga Muni's description? This is the doubt that ordinary people will get. But the fact is, the sequence is not broken. And that's being clarified to us. Actually, 4 colors are said. But they are said in past, present and future. So 2 colors are in the past, 1 is in the present and 1 is in future. So Shukla Raktas Tatha Pita. Idanim Krishnatam Gataha. So you have to imagine Yatha. Yatha means the way. Jaise, Hindi mein bolte hai na, Jaise. So Jaise, in the past, Shukla Rakta. That means Abhi, this is Garga Muni speaking. So this is in Dwapar Yuga. So in Dwapar Yuga, Garga Muni is saying to Nanda Maharaj, the way in the past, that means in Satya Yuga and Treta Yuga, the Lord appeared in white and red colors. So you have to imagine that the way, Yatha Shukla Raktaha, Tatha, in the same way, in that way, Pita, yellow. That means the way in the past, the Lord appeared in red and white and red complexions. In that way, in future, that means in the next Yuga, Kali Yuga, he will appear in yellow color, yellow complexion. Idanim Krishnatam Gataha. Now he has appeared in black color. So you see all four are said. White, red, future yellow is said, and present black. All four are said. Okay. So in that way, that was clarified. And also one more point was when idanim is said, idanim means now, but idanim also means near future, which is about to happen. Okay. So that point was clarified. Tatha. Tatha is said. Tatha means in that way. So that's one description. Why this is being explained? You're clear? Because the avatar of Kali Yuga, it's not, that's why author is saying ordinary people, less intelligent people will not understand. Even though it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they will not accept it, they will not understand it. Only intelligent people will understand. So now the author is showing us how it is there in Bhagavatam. That in Kali Yuga, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to come Pita Varna. He will be in golden complexion. In Kali Yuga, the Yuga avatar will be golden color. Also, the point here is, this is said in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela chapter 6, conversation between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And even before talking with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, actually he has like an argument or a debate with his brother-in-law, Gopinath Acharya. Gopinath Acharya is a devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At that time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, so he got a transformation after he had the debate with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 10 days. Before that, he was a Pakka Mayavadi philosopher. So this was at that time. Mahaprabhu had come, after taking sannyas, he had come to Jagannath Puri. But he was so attractive. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was very much attracted to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in that context, he wanted to know more about him. So he was asking his brother-in-law, Gopinath Acharya, about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, about his previous ashram, about his sannyas and all that. So, and then he also said something like, he's from Bharati school. That's not a first-class school. I will arrange for him to get sannyas again from Saraswat school. That's first-class sannyas. Gopinath Acharya got mad. He said, what do you mean? He doesn't need the support of any first-class sannyas or anything. He's the Supreme Lord. So then the debate starts. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying, where in the Shastra does it say that there is an avatar in Kali Yuga? The Supreme Lord is called Tri-Yugi. Tri-Yugi means he comes only in 3 yugas. There is no Yuga avatar in Kali Yuga. That means there is this misconception. That misconception means Tri-Yugi word is there. But why it is said Tri-Yugi? That only devotees can understand. Only the intelligent can understand. Those who are not intelligent, they will accept that Tri-Yugi means the Lord appears only in Satya, Treta, Dwapar Yugas. He doesn't appear in Kali Yuga. So that has to be, first of all, for us to understand, we will need the mercy. Understand means to accept. You will hear it, but your heart won't be able to accept it. Until and unless you receive the mercy of a devotee, you won't be able to accept the fact. So here, kindly, Srila Lochandas Thakur is giving his mercy by way of explaining it to us about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, he said that that tatha, shukla raktas tatha pita. Tatha pita, tatha means it's talking about future. So in this way, 4 colors, that means 4 avatars are mentioned for 4 yugas, but in 3 times, past, present, and future, like that. Then he said, please hear another wonderful explanation of this verse. And this explanation is the most conclusive evidence that we are going to start in our session today. We didn't start our today's shloka yet. We will start now. That is 376. So this was the discussion so far. Now 376 begins with another explanation. Yes. So 376 says, Ara aparupa shuno shlokera vyakhyana. Ei matra vyakhya iha parama pramana. Ara aparupa shuno shlokera vyakhyan. Aparupa matlab? Aparupa means nothing like that, right? It is the most wonderful, anokha, right? Like, yeah, wonderful. Ara aparupa shuno shlokera vyakhyan. So the same shlokas, another explanation. I'm going to explain, please hear. This is another wonderful explanation of the same shloka. I'm going to explain. Please listen. This explanation is the most conclusive evidence. Ei matra vyakhya iha parama pramana. Parama pramana. This is the supreme evidence. Pramana means what? Evidence. Or you can say authority. Pramana. Proof. So this is the supreme proof. This explanation of this verse. Proof of what? Of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 377. Eita vyakhyara ache apurva purva paksha yuga avatara Krishna e bado ashakya. Okay, purva paksha. Purva pakshi means an opponent. One who raises an objection. Purva pakshi. Eita vyakhyara ache apurva purva paksha. So in this Vyakhya, commentary or explanation, is apurva. Again, apurva means something that has never happened before, right? Something surprising. Apurva purva paksha, objection. So in this explanation, you will find a wonderful objection. What is that objection? Yuga avatara Krishna e bado ashakya. Krishna is a Yuga avatar. How is that possible? Ashakya, it's impossible. How can Krishna be Yuga avatar? Why? Why is that an objection? How can Krishna be a Yuga avatar? So here the translation is saying, here someone may lodge a surprising protest. He may claim that because he is a Yuga avatar, Lord Krishna cannot be the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all incarnations. Now, to understand the original source and the avatars, we will need some background there. Maybe I will read first and then explain. 378. So you saw the objection. What is the objection? Because what was the discussion so far? There are 4 yugas. Each yuga has one avatar. Satya Yuga avatar is Hamsa. Treta Yuga, Yagya. Dwapar Yuga is Krishna. And Kali Yuga, we don't know the name, but we have a description. He is in yellow complexion or golden complexion. He is doing Sankirtan all the time. And only the intelligent worship him in Kali Yuga. And he is accompanied by his associates. Sango, Pangastra, Parshada. He is accompanied by them. So this we know about Kali Yuga's incarnation. But here the objection is, you are saying in Dwapar Yuga, Krishna is the Yuga avatar. If Krishna is Yuga avatar, then how Krishna can be the original supreme personality of Godhead, the fountainhead of all avatars? How is that possible? So if Krishna is Yuga avatar, he cannot be the original supreme person. Or if he's, because you're saying he's Yuga avatar. If he's Yuga avatar, how he can be the original supreme person? That cannot be. That's the objection. Then next verse is saying, Ara yuge avatar ansha kala likhi, apane se Bhagavan Bhagavata sakshi. Ara yuge avatara ansha kala likhi. In other yugas, so when there is avatar, not in other yugas, when you say Yuga avatar, so here you're saying Krishna is Yuga avatar. But other Yuga avatars other than Krishna, not even other than Krishna, I will come to that point. But generally when you say Yuga avatars, these Yuga avatars are explained as Ansha, Amsha and Kala of Krishna. Yuga avatars are explained as Amsha and Kala of Krishna. Where is it explained like this? It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is established as the highest pramana, evidence. When there is any statement made in Srimad Bhagavatam, that is the ultimate proof. Just like in a court of law, if somebody shows evidence, I guess if you have a eyewitness, then that's taken as a evidence, right? Proof. For you, for us, for anyone actually, Srila Jiva Goswami establishes this in Tattva Sandarbha, that knowledge about anything, how do we get knowledge? We get knowledge in 10 different ways. I think we discussed this in the previous session, so I won't go into the details. But the point is, the ultimate, that means, let's say there's a debate between 2 people about one person is saying it is like this and another person is saying, no, it is not like this. How do you decide who is right? Who will decide between who will give the judgment about who is right? Shastra will give judgment. And in Shastra also you have Upanishads and you have Aranyakas, Samhitas, right? Vedas. Then you have Puranas and Itihasas. And in Puranas also you have Satvika Puranas, Tamasic Puranas, and Rajasic Puranas. And in Satvika Puranas also you have different Puranas, Srimad Bhagavatam, Vishnu Purana, Garud. So many Puranas are there. So if there is a contradiction between statements within Puranas also. Whose statement takes precedence? The ultimate is Srimad Bhagavatam. When there is a statement said in Srimad Bhagavatam, even if a contradictory statement is said in other Puranas, it doesn't mean that they are wrong. They are meant for, they're secondary. They are of secondary importance. They're not false. Just like, what is the highest dharma for the living entity? Surrender to Krishna, rendering pure unalloyed devotional service. This is the highest dharma. But if one does not have qualification for that, at least he has to follow Varnashrama dharma. In this world, you have to follow Varnashrama dharma, minimum. But what is the best? If you come to the stage of pure devotional service, then there is no need of, you're not required to follow Varnashrama dharma. If you are actually fulfilling the conditions of pure devotional service, you are not required to do Varnashrama dharma. That means in Shastra, there will be statements for different people, for different grades of people. So they're all correct. However, who is right? Who is right means amongst them, which one takes precedence? What is said in because Srimad Bhagavatam will not speak about any Kaitava Dharma. It will only speak about pure devotional service. So it is speaking about the highest truth. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. वास्तवम अत्र वस्तु शिवदम तापत्रयोन्मूलनम श्रीमद् भागवते महामुनि कृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृदयवरुध्यते यत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषभिः तत्क्षणात्. So Srimad Bhagavatam, the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam is the ultimate pramana. That's the point I'm making here. Okay. So here, one second. Yeah. So here it is said that Purvapakshi has presented an objection. What was the objection? That if Krishna is Yuga Avatar, how he can be the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Because Srimad Bhagavatam itself is saying that all these Yuga Avataras and all other Avataras, they are amshas of Krishna. Where is it said like that? You may ask. So this shloka is saying, Ara Yuge Avatara Anshakala Likhi Apane se Bhagavana Bhagavata Sakshi. In truth, it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam that the other Yuga Avataras, you want me to share the screen with you? So you can see also. So in truth, it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam that the other Yuga Avatara are all plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna himself is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So where is this said? This is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 3rd chapter, text 28. And by the way, this 28th verse of the 3rd chapter, it is called Paribhasa Sutram. Paribhasha Sutram means it is the guiding lamp for the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. That means even if within Srimad Bhagavatam, in other places, if you find a statement which is contradicting the statement of this Paribhasha Sutram, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, if you find within, and actually you will find in the 10th canto, you will find in different places, you'll find in Bhagavatam itself, where it appears like Krishna is an amsha, is an expansion of Lord Vishnu. It will appear like that. You should not take it like that. Even if it appears like that, you have to take a secondary meaning to that. Why? Because this is Paribhasha Sutram. Paribhasha Sutram means it takes precedence. Something like the global variable in C language. Global variable takes precedence. Wherever it appears, it takes precedence, like that. So Paribhasha Sutram is like that. So this verse is the Paribhasha Sutram for entire Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the ultimate pramana. And what is this verse saying? Ete cham shakala pumsaha krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam mridayanti yuge yuge. So before this, the context is, I know we don't have enough time, but I have to explain it. Before this verse was said, Suta Goswami has given he mentions 22 avatars. First of all, he says Bhagavan, Jagrihe Paurusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahadadibihi. That means Jagrihe matlab grahan karna, accepted. Paurusham Rupam means Purusha avatar. Which Purusha? The first Purusha, Mahavishnu or Karanodakshaya Vishnu. Who accepted? Bhagavan accepted. So that was the first verse, the beginning of this third chapter. This chapter, just like now we have this Sutra Khanda, right? Like that, that is also called the Sutra Adhyaya, third chapter of first canto. That means it will have whatever is, it's like the table of contents in simple words. Whatever is going to be described in the entire Srimad Bhagavatam will be listed there in that chapter. That's why that chapter is called Sutra Adhyaya, third chapter. Invariably, your Paribhasha Sutram will come in the Sutra Adhyaya only, always. So in that chapter, so that chapter is a very important chapter. It will list all the topics that will be discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam. So it is listing. So it will tell you what is the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So the different avatars are mentioned in that third chapter. So beginning with how Bhagavan accepted Purusha avatara, Purusha form. So Bhagavan accepted Purusha form. So who is this Purusha? Purusha is Karanodakshaya Vishnu. And then next Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is mentioned, and then Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, and how through Kshirodakshaya Vishnu so many avatars are coming. And then there's a list of avatars. Narad Muni, Varahadev, then actually first Kumaras, Varahadev, Narad Muni, like this. There's a list. But it's not that this is the complete list of all avatars of the Lord. It's just sample, some, because the Lord's avatars are unlimited. At every moment, avatars are coming. Avatar means one who descends from a higher realm. That means one who is descending from the spiritual world. Avatar. Or even demigods also coming down. So from a higher realm who comes to a lower realm, he's called avatar. So all these avatars are mentioned. Beginning with Purusha avatars. But what is said at the very beginning? Bhagavan accepted Jagrihe Paurusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahadadibhi. Mahadadi means why he accepted? For the sake of creation. Using Mahat Adi means Mahat Tattva, Ahankara, all these 23 elements or 16 elements. Using these elements in order to create Bhagavan accepted Purusha form. But who is that Bhagavan is not said there in the beginning. Simply it is said Bhagavan accepted. And then it continued from Mahavishnu, then Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, then from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. And then the list of avatars are said. And we came down. And in that list, Krishna is also said. Krishna, Balaram. And then Buddha, Kalki. And then, oh, there are so many avatars coming. Manvantara avatars, Yuga avatar. Manvantara avatar means in every Manvantara, one avatar will come. Yuga avatar means in every Yuga, one avatar will come. They're all scheduled avatars that will come. And apart from this, you have Shakti Avesh avatars, you have Guna avatars. Guna avatar means Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva. Then you have Leela avatars, like Lord Ramchandra, Matsya, Kurma Varaha. Leela avatars are coming. Like this, different types of avatars are there. How many avatars there are? No counting. Avatars are coming like waves in the ocean. How many waves are there? Like that. Constantly avatars are coming. So many avatars are coming. After saying this, then this verse is said. Ete. Ete means until now, whatever I have listed. Whatever I have listed. Cha means cha. Cha means and what I have not listed. Ete cha. Ete means whatever I have listed so far. Cha means whatever I have not listed. That covers everything. What I mentioned and what I didn't mention means everything. All avatars. Kala, Pumsa. They are Amsha, Kala of Pumsaha. So now you have to understand what is Amsha and what is Kala also. Amsha means Swamsha. So Swamsha of who? Direct expansion of Bhagavan. Swa, Amsha. Swamsha means direct expansion of Bhagavan. That means Vishnu Tattva. Bhagavan is not yet said. It'll be said in the second line. But Amsha of who? Not even of Bhagavan. Here it is said Amsha of Pumsa. Pumsa means Purushavatar. Purushavatar means you have to take the first one. Who is the first Purushavatara? Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Mahavishnu. So, all the avatars which I mentioned now, and also what I have not mentioned, they are all either Amshas or Kalas of Purushavatar. Which Purushavatar? Original one, first one, Karanodakshaya Vishnu. Whatever I have mentioned so far and what I have not mentioned, they are all either Amsha or Kala of Mahavishnu. What do you mean by Amsha? Amsha means Vishnu Tattva, direct expansion. Kala means what? Kala means when a living entity, a Jiva Tattva, is invested or empowered by the Lord with his potency. For example, we saw Narad Muni in the list. Narad Muni is a living entity who is empowered with the bhakti potency, bhakti shakti. Similarly, Kumaras are also listed as avatar. Kumaras are the Jnana Shakti. Then Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj is Kriya Shakti or Palana Shakti. Like this. So, when a living entity, what you call Shaktavesh avatar, right? Actually, Kala. Kala means a living entity which is empowered with the Lord's potency. That is called Kala. And direct expansion of the Lord's direct expansion. That means Vishnu Tattva. That's called Swamsha. So this is the difference between Amsha and Kala. So whatever I have said so far, the list that I've given, and also whatever I have not mentioned, they are all either Amsha, that means direct expansion, Vishnu Tattva, or Kala, that means empowered living entities, empowered with the Lord's potency. Of who? Of Mahavishnu. But in that list, we also saw Krishna. Krishna and Balaram were there. And second line is saying, but. Tu means but. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. But in that list, Krishna, he's different. It is something like saying, in a classroom, there is Devadatta, Somadatta, and Yagyadatta. Of these three, Devadatta is Brahmana. What does that mean? Devadatta has Brahmanatvam. Only Devadatta has Brahmanatvam and others don't have. That's what it means, isn't it? If you say in a classroom there is Devadatta, Somadatta, Yagyadatta, of these three, Devadatta is Brahmana. automatically it implies that the others are not Brahmana. Only Devadatta is Brahmana. Similarly, here the list of all avatars is given, and it is said that even what I have not mentioned, everyone is covered there. All avatars, Shaktavesh avatars and Swamsha avatars, everybody is covered. And then in that list, Krishna is also there. And it is saying of all these, Krishna is Bhagavan. That means what? All the others are not Bhagavan. Only Krishna is Bhagavan, isn't it? And where was this Bhagavan said? At the very beginning. Jagrihe Paurusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahadadivi is said. That Bhagavan who accepted this Purusha avatara, Purusha form. Which Purusha? Karanodakshaya Vishnu. Bhagavan accepted for the sake of creation, it is said. Who is that Bhagavan is revealed here? Who is that Bhagavan? Krishna is that Bhagavan. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Now, Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. This is also significant. Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. He comes Yuge Yuge. Why it is said Yuge Yuge 2 times, you know? Yuge Yuge. One Yuga is adjective and the other Yuga is noun. That means Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, and he comes. That original Bhagavan Krishna, he comes. Yuga means now in Dwapar Yuga, and again in the next Yuga he will come. Who is that? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So now he is coming, and in the next Yuga again he comes. So now I'll just read. There's a lot to be discussed here, but 1 hour is not sufficient. And I cannot rush. I mean, I'm not so expert either. But there's so much to be discussed. Just in this one verse, so much. So we cannot cover all that. It's okay. But let's read. All of the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. That means Amsha or Kala. Of the Lord means of Purusha Avatar. But Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, Swayam Bhagavan. All of them appear on planets whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord incarnates to protect the theists. So let's continue reading. Yuga Avatar Krishna Kohibo ke mate, e vachana tabe ke ne kohe bhagavate. Yuga Avatar Krishna Kohibo ke mate. Now, Yuga Avatar Krishna. Why you are calling Krishna as Yuga Avatar? Because you are saying all avatars. You are saying all avatars are Amsha or Kala of Bhagavan. And then you are saying Krishna is also Avatar, right? You said Dwapar Yuga. Who is the Yuga Avatar for Dwapar Yuga? You said Krishna. But you are saying all avatars are Amshas. So you are contradicting yourself. Krishna, if Krishna is Yuga Avatar, then he cannot be Swayam Bhagavan. Then you cannot be Swayam Bhagavan if you are saying Krishna is Yuga Avatar. Where is it said Krishna is Yuga Avatar? In that Gargamuni is saying, right? And then afterwards, Karabhajan Muni is also saying. So there's one thing to be noted here. Anyway, maybe in the end I'll explain. We'll read first. Why do I say that Lord Krishna is a Yuga Avatar? Why does Srimad Bhagavatam refer to him as a Yuga Avatar? Question. Right? Kyun? Why Bhagavatam is calling him a Yuga Avatar? He's Swayam Bhagavan, he's the original personality of Godhead. Then why Bhagavatam is calling him Yuga Avatar? Yuga Avatar means that for that particular Yuga, he comes to establish the Yuga Dharma for that Yuga. Just like Hamsa comes to establish the Yuga Dharma for Satya Yuga. Yagya comes to establish Yuga Dharma for Treta Yuga. Krishna comes to establish Yuga Dharma for Dwapar Yuga. What is the Yuga Dharma for Dwapar Yuga? Deity worship. So if Krishna is just Yuga Avatar who comes to establish the Yuga Dharma, why you are calling him the original personality of Godhead? But Bhagavatam is saying Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So if Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, then why you are calling him Yuga Avatar? Either way, if you're calling him Yuga Avatar, then how he can be Swayam Bhagwan? But Bhagavatam is saying Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. He must be Swayam Bhagwan. If he's Swayam Bhagwan, then why you're calling him Yuga Avatar? 381. Vrindavana Chandra Yuga Avatara na hai. Purna Brahma Krishna Bhagavate ko hai. Vrindavan Chandra is no Yuga Avatar. The moon of Vrindavan. Vrindavan means Golok Vrindavan. The Lord of Vrindavan. Vrindavan Chandra is not a Yuga Avatar. He is not a Yuga Avatar. He is not there to establish the Yuga Dharma. No. Purna Brahma, Krishna, Bhagavate ko hai. Bhagavat is saying this. Directly Srimad Bhagavatam is saying, he is the complete Bhagavan. Then still the question lies here. The question remains, why you are calling him Yuga Avatar if he is not? If he is not Yuga Avatar, why you are calling him Yuga Avatar, Krishna? So that's why here it is said, Vrindavan Chandra, Yuga Avatar nahe, Purna Brahma Krishna, Bhagavate kohe. Lord Krishna, the moon of Vrindavan, is not a mere Yuga Avatar. Rather, he is the perfect and complete original supreme personality of Godhead that Srimad Bhagavatam says. 382. To karane kichu kohitaha shuno avagya na karo keho karo avadhana. Now I will explain why Lord Krishna is the original supreme personality of Godhead. Please do not mock me. Listen carefully. So he's going to explain, Srila Lochandas Thakur is going to explain why Krishna is the original supreme personality of Godhead and he is not just a Yuga Avatar. Please listen carefully. And don't mock me, he's saying. Please don't mock me. Asan varnastrayo hyasya grihnato nuyugam tanuhu shuklo raktastatha pita idanim krishnatam gataha. Again, this is what Garga Rishi said. Your son Krishna appears as an incarnation in every millennium. In the past, he assumed 3 different colors, white, red, and yellow, and now he has appeared in the blackish color. In another Dwapar Yuga, he appeared as Lord Ramchandra in the color of Shuka apparent. All such incarnations have now assembled in Krishna. So this needs some explanation. You see, the point is, if I can draw, it will be better. But I'll see if you can just understand without drawing. In one day of Brahma, there are 1,000 cycles of Satya, Treta, Dwapar and Kali Yugas. Okay? Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga together is called one Mahayuga. Like this, there are 1,000 Mahayugas in one day of Brahma. 1,000 Mahayugas means now there are 1,000 Satya Yugas, 1,000 Treta Yugas, 1,000 Dwapar Yugas, 1,000 Kali Yugas in one day of Brahma. Each day of Brahma is divided into 14 divisions called Manvantaras. One day is divided into 14. So if you divide 1,000 by 14, you'll get 71 approximately. Little more than 71. 71. That means every Manvantara will have 71 Satya Yugas, 71 Treta Yugas, 71 Dwapar Yugas, 71 Kali Yugas. Like this, there will be 14 Manvantaras in one day of Brahma. Every Yuga will have one avatar called Yuga Avatar. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga. In every Yuga, one Yuga Avatar will come. All these 1,000 Satya Yugas, the avatar is either Amsha, he is an Amsha of Pumsa. Pumsa means Purushavatara's expansion. Same in Treta Yuga also, Yagya, right? he is a Swamsha, an expansion of the Karanodakshaya Vishnu. There are 1000 Dwapar Yugas, right? In one day. Of those 1999 Dwapar Yugas, the avatar that comes is also an Amsha. His name is Krishna, but he is an Amsha of Mahavishnu. He lives in Vaikuntha. There's a planet in Vaikuntha. And he lives in Vaikuntha. His name is Krishna. He is not Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan, who lives in Goloka. And his complexion is also not blackish. It's greenish. Dark, yes, dark complexion, but greenish. It's not black, blackish. Not like monsoon rain cloud. No. His complexion is greenish. 999 Dwapar Yugas. And also in the Kali Yuga, 999 Kali Yugas, the avatar who will establish the Yuga Dharma, which is Sankirtan, that is also an expansion of Mahavishnu. However, only in one Dwapar Yuga and the Kali Yuga immediately following that Dwapar Yuga, original Bhagavan, Swayam Bhagavan, Krishna, who is the fountainhead, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam is said. That Bhagavan Krishna, he descends. He comes here. Only once. When is that? So I told you there are 14 Manvantaras. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, like that. So the 7th one, every Manvantara has 71 cycles. Yes? So in the 7th Manvantara, out of those 71, the 28th cycle, 7th Manvantara's 28th cycle, and in one cycle you have Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. So the Dwapar Yuga, 28th Dwapar Yuga, Krishna, original Krishna comes. And immediately after that, the 28th Kali Yuga of the 7th Manvantara, Krishna himself is appearing again as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This happens only once in a day of Brahma. Out of totally how many? You have 4,000 yugas, isn't it? 1,000 Satya Yugas, 1,000 Treta Yugas, 1,000 Dwapar Yugas, 1,000 Kali Yugas in one day of Brahma. Of those, only in 2 yugas, which is the 28th Dwapar Yuga and the 28th Kali Yuga of the 7th Manvantara, original Krishna appears. Whereas the remaining Dwapar Yugas and Kali Yugas and also Satya Treta Yugas, they are all expansions. They are not the original personality of Godhead Krishna. That's the point. Your son Krishna appears. So all such so when Krishna appears, what is the understanding of Krishna? Krishna is the Amshi, not Amsha. Amshi mane, he is complete with all his Shaktis. Parasha Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate Swabhaviki Jnana Balakriyacha. He is complete with all his potencies. Amsha means, again, here there's another discussion. When you say Amsha, don't think from material perspective, because generally if you say Amsha, like you take a pizza, you have a full pie, and then you take one piece. So you call this an Amsha of your pizza, right? So you cut it off. So now your pizza will not be full anymore because you removed one piece from there. Is it like that? Amsha means like you cut a part of the whole Krishna and then that is, it's not like that. It's not like that. That's not, you cannot cut. And also, is it possible to cut? When you say Amsha means, because this is material calculation, that's how we will think. That's our, we can only think within the box of space and time. So for us, amsha means a portion, a fraction. But the Lord is all pervading. He is unlimited. How do you cut the all pervading? How can the all pervading have a portion? Isn't it? And that portion is also all pervading. That's why Vishnu Tattva means that's also all pervading. The Lord is all pervading, the portion is all pervading, but still you're calling this is a portion, amsha. What do you mean by that? So then Acharya, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, no. Your understanding of amshi and amsha is wrong. It's not like that. It's not that you can cut. Amshi means complete. But for the sake of a particular pastime, he manifests a certain portion of his Shakti. And according to that, he comes in a particular form. And also, it can be in a different age also, right? You have Bala Leela, you have Kaumara Leela, you have, his youth. All are simultaneously present. Now, does it mean that there are so many different Krishnas? No, there's only one person, one body that is appearing in different forms. And also, amshas, which you call as, like Narasimha, Vamana, Varaha. One person only, one body only. But he's appearing in so many different forms in different places at different times simultaneously. But it's not different people. It's only one person. For the sake of that pastime, he's manifesting only that much. He's not manifesting his complete potency. For example, Nishingadev, Bhayanaka, right? So when you see, so that rasa, that potency is being manifested. How about Balaramji, Lavanya, extremely beautiful. Same Vamandev also, very, very beautiful. That beauty aspect is manifested. So, and why only some is because for the sake of that pastime, that much is needed. If you show everything, then you don't get rasa in that leela. For that leela, that much only is required. Just like, when you make sabji, garam masala, you don't put this much because you have. You have to put only a little bit, 1 spoon, and it gives wonderful flavor. Like that, for the sake of that pastime, that much is required. So he will manifest only that much. And then he is Lord Ramchandra. And he appears as Narasimhadev, as Vamandev. But actually, same person, one body. Now you'll say, Arey, one body simultaneously is there in Vaikuntha. And here also we see so many unlimited material universes. And the Lord's Leela is Nitya Leela. Constantly all pastimes are happening at every moment, right? In one universe, one pastime of Nishingadev is happening. In another universe, another is happening simultaneously. And so many avatars, everyone's Leela is happening all the time, constantly. That means in so many places, he's there in so many forms. You're saying it is still one body. How is this possible? I cannot understand. Yes, you cannot understand. That is why he's Achintya. Achintya. It's beyond your capacity to even imagine. He is beyond the power of your logic to understand. Achintya. So, yes, here Amsha and Amshi we are trying to understand. Krishna is Amshi. Okay? And from him, all these Amshas, that means Purusha avatars and all these different avatars, they are Amshas of Krishna. But who is that Amshi? Amshi is Krishna only. So just we have a couple more verses. I'll read and I will wind up. So your son, huh? So that means when Krishna comes, everyone, because he's full, right? He's full of all opulences. That means all these various Amshas, they're all there in him. Because Amsha means what? Manifestation of some potency. Even within that, when you see Karanodakshay Vishnu, more potency. Garbhodakshay Vishnu, little less. Kshirodakshay Vishnu, oh no, yeah. And because Karanodakshay Vishnu is for the entire cosmic manifestation, Garbhodakshay Vishnu is for one universe. So little less. Kshirodakshay Vishnu, like that. So Taratamya means more or less, depending on the need for that particular pastime. the manifestation of his potency is more or less. How about when Krishna is there? Krishna means complete. All his potencies are there. If all potencies are there, that means what? All incarnations are there in him, isn't it? Everybody is there. Everybody is there. He can manifest whichever one he wants. As Krishna in Gokula, he can show Nrsimhadev, he can show Lord Ramchandra, he can show anyone. Same with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that same Krishna. Your son Krishna appears as an incarnation in every millennium. In the past, he assumed 3 different colors, white, red, and yellow, and now he has appeared in a blackish color. In another Dwapar Yuga, he appeared as Lord Ramchandra. That's why, green, right? In other Dwapar Yugas, except for this one Dwapar Yuga, before our present Kali Yuga, we cannot imagine, we are in that exceptionally rare Yuga. Of these 4,000 Yugas, we came in this Yuga. And that too, just 540 years after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. How fortunate we are, huh? So, but in all other yugas, it is a amsha, not amshi. And that's why it is said in another Dwapar Yuga, he appeared in the color of Shuka, parrot. All such incarnations have now assembled in Krishna. I don't know why they said Lord Ramchandra, because Dwapar Yuga is Krishna only, but his color is green. Gargamuni kohilo gabhira bodo bodhe ke mane bujhibo iha amara abodhe. In this verse, Gargamuni speaks very profound truths. How can I explain those truths? I'm only a fool. Lochandas Thakur is saying. If Srila Lochandas Thakur is saying that, where are we? Buddhimana hoy jadi jane bhakta jane, buddhimana lokataha koraye pramane. बुद्धिमान होय यदि जाने भक्त जने. अगर बुद्धिमान है, if you are intelligent, if one is intelligent, he becomes a devotee of the Lord. Only intelligent people can understand the truths given in Srimad Bhagavatam. If one is intelligent, he becomes a devotee of the Lord. Someone needs to be muted. If one is intelligent, he becomes a devotee of the Lord. Only intelligent people can understand the truths given in Srimad Bhagavatam. And what is that intelligence? It is not our material intelligence. Intelligence comes by mercy. Our devotional account is opened by a devotee. That is intelligence, not just some material intelligence. Comes from a Sadguru. Sadguru means one who has surrendered his life to Krishna and who is 24/7 engaged in direct devotional service to Krishna. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. That is a spiritual master. And one who has surrendered to such a spiritual master, then he can accept, he can understand. That is an intelligent person. If one is intelligent, he becomes a devotee of the Lord. Only intelligent people can understand the truths given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Chari yuge chari varna kohilena mui bhuta bhavishya vartamana trikala kahini. Gargamuni explained that in each of the 4 yugas, the Lord appears in incarnations of 4 different colors. Yes? Shukla, Rakta, Tatha, Pita. Idanim Krishnatam Gataha. So Shukla, Rakta are in the past, Pita is in the future, and in the present is Krishna. So he has explained 4 different colors. In discussing these different yugas, Gargamuni refers to the 3 phases of time, past, present, and future. So 2 colors in past, 1 in future, 1 in the present. So he has explained them in 3 phases of time. Chari yuge tina kala kohibare chahe teni saba katha vyasa eka shloke kohe. Thus in this verse, Vyas describes the 4 yugas according to the 3 phases of time. Which verse? This verse. Shukla Raktas Tathapita. This Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.13. So in this one verse, Srila Vyasdev is describing 4 yugas according to 3 phases of time. So I will stop there. That was the last verse for today. Does anyone have any questions, comments?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Mataji. A very beautiful class. Very, very, very tough topic, very difficult topic to understand. But thank you so much, Mataji, for explaining all the verses. Very grateful to you. Dear devotees, if you have any questions, please go ahead. Sunil Prabhu, yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much, Mataji, for so beautiful class. And as you said, if that contradiction, like we cannot understand Mahaprabhu, and you said yes, that is the Achinta Bheda that you explained so beautifully. Mataji, just a request, like today you shared the screen, Mataji, it was wonderful. If possible, in a future session also, you can share the screen, Mataji. It's helpful.
Yes.
Thank you.
I will do that.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so looks like there's no questions, so we can end here.
Sure, Mataji. Let me just check the chat quickly, Mataji. 1 second. Matajis are thanking you, Mataji. Many devotees are thanking you, saying it's a wonderful class, lots of information. So very grateful to you, Mataji. With your permission, now we'll offer obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa
Patarubhyashta kripa sindhubhyo Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namo Govinda ki jai,
Jai Shri Ram
jai,
Thakur ki Jai, Shri Ram
Thank you.
Prabhupada
Thank
you, Mataji. Hare
ki
Krishna
jai,
Bhakti Mataji ki jai.
Prabhuji ki jai, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Mataji sorry. And Sunil Prabhu, whatever he said, Mataji, just send this one, share the chat.